In the 1950s, Jack and Alice Chambers are a young and love couple living in a lovely area of Victory, California, a company town built and financed by the enigmatic Victory Company, for which Jack works. The ladies of the men, Alice, her friend Bunny, the pregnant Peg, newcomer Violet, and Margaret, stay at home to clean, unwind, and cook dinner for their husbands while the men go to work at Victory headquarters out in the adjacent desert. Margaret has become an outcast among the other wives after taking her son out into the desert, which led to her son's apparent death. The women are discouraged from asking, brought on emotional trauma. Alice notices Margaret's husband attempting to administer her medication when she is at a party held by Victory's mysterious creator and leader, Frank. Later, Alice notices Frank is watching her and Jack as they have sex in secret in Frank's bedroom, but he says nothing. Alice later has a vision of Margaret brutally hitting her skull against a mirror. She runs back to their neighborhood in time to witness Margaret slice her own neck and fall from the top of her house. To Margaret's body, two mysterious men wearing red jumpsuits pull her away, and is now recovering in a hospital with her husband, who was compelled to leave the Victory Project to care for her. Dr. Collins, the local doctor, who asserts to have treated Margaret and tries to give Alice the same prescription medications, provides more support for this account. Alice later raids Dr. Collins' briefcase and destroys a medical record for Margaret that has been substantially redacted out of rage. Alice feels as though Frank is monitoring her at all times, which causes her to grow increasingly confused and paranoid. Alice had a breakdown in the restroom during a special Victory ceremony where Frank grants Jack a special promotion, and Bunny consoles her. Alice tries to explain everything to Bunny, who responds violently by saying she sounds exactly like Margaret and accusing her of trying to ruin everything for everyone. Later, Bunny and her husband Bill are left out of Alice and Jack's invitation to dinner, which also includes Frank and Shelley as special guests. Frank confides in Alice in a private conversation in the kitchen, hinting that she is correct in her thoughts and admitting that he has been waiting for someone to confront him who is similar to her. Alice tries to reveal Frank and Victory's contradictions over dinner, emboldened by Frank's revelation. Instead, Frank deceives her, making her appear insane to the other visitors. After that, Alice pleads with Jack to remove them both from Victory. Jack first concurs, but after Alice is in the car, he permits Frank's men to take her away. Alice is made to receive electroshock therapy by Dr. Collins. Throughout the treatment, Alice experiences flashbacks in which she is a modern-day surgeon called Alice Warren, struggling to make ends meet while residing with the jobless Jack. Alice, presumably free of her hysteria, makes her way back to Victory, where she meets up with Jack and Bunny once more. However, Alice's hallucinations and memories continue as she returns to her regular life. When Jack kidnaps Alice and forces her into the simulation in the hopes that they might have the ideal relationship, she later remembers the whole truth, that Victory is a fake world that Frank constructed. When Jack learns that Alice is aware of the reality, he justifies doing this for her by saying that she was unhappy in her real life. Alice, however, is furious because Jack violated her autonomy. A glass tumbler is to Jack attempts to crush her while hugging her and pleading with her to forgive him. Alice also kills Jack in the real world. When Frank learns of Jack's passing, he sends his men to seize her. Bunny discovers Alice with Jack's body and informs her that she has known all along that Victory is a simulation but has chosen to remain in order to be with her children, who are actually dead. In addition to directing Alice to Victory headquarters, which serves as a doorway out of the simulation, Bunny deters Bill from attacking Alice for killing Jack. As their husbands begin to panic, they for Alice as she steals Jack's car and heads for Victory headquarters. She manipulates Dr. Collins into crashing his automobile, killing him along with several other people. Shelley kills Frank with a knife at their home, saying it's her turn now. After arriving to Victory headquarters, Alice sees a vision of Jack pleading with her to stay. Prior to Frank's men catching up with her, Alice hurries to the window while ignoring the vision. The sound of Alice gasping for oxygen is heard over that get progressively more desperate. After a heated dinner party brawl, Frank almost confesses to Alice that he is controlling the Victory residence. But before Alice can conclude her line of inquiry, the thugs attempt to rewire her brain. There are problems with the electroshock therapy. Alice gets memories of her true life as she is lying on the table. She is actually a doctor, not a housewife, as it turns out. She works long hours and resides in a drab city apartment. In that world, Jack serves as her partner as well. The fact that Alice supports their relationship and works a lot of hours bothers him. By giving Harry Styles very uncharacteristic hair and attire in these sequences, the film tries to increase Jack's creep factor. Jack learns about unique VR technology developed by Frank that enables a guy and the woman of his choice to be immersed into a 50s-style reality while listening to a scary podcast with men's rights activist vibes. It should be emphasized that the woman does not agree to the virtual reality experience. She need not even be the man's partner. She may simply be any random woman that the male, presumably, kidnaps. Yikes. Without Alice's permission, Jack registers both of them by himself. Alice flinches as she kisses Jack when she gets back home, or rather, to her 1950s simulation home, and more real-world memories start to rush in. Jack responds that he took this decision because she was miserable in the outside world, working long hours in a hospital, when she confronts him. She may now simply unwind by the pool. He wishes he never had to leave the simulation, but he must in order to work at a job outside the simulation each day and pay for his unsettling fantasy. Alice cries that she chose to live a supposedly wretched life and that she actually preferred it. The patriarchy is hard because it frequently passes for domestic harmony. Then Jack is fatally killed by Alice. When Alice's neighbor Bunny arrives, she admits that she is aware that they are participants in a simulation. Bunny is present voluntarily since she gets to visit her fictitious children in virtual reality even though she lost her real children. An odd realization given that Bunny's offspring are merely automatons and lack the messiness and delight of children. How is Alice living outside of the simulation, even if her safety is not in danger there? In a bed, Alice is visible being connected to the simulator machine. None of her employees or family members inquired about her disappearance. How does she feed once she is tethered to the machine in the bed? How does she use the restroom? Should Jack take care of that? That would seem to take away a lot of the romance, and the quotation marks work hard here, from Jack's romantic fantasy with Alice in Wonderland. It's unclear what has become of Frank's wife Shelley, Gemma Chan, throughout the film. Like Bunny, does she realize that her life is a simulation? A prank by Frank, perhaps? The latter, most of the world.